Graveyard Shift from Uncle Tupelo. You're listening to your Tuesday afternoon alternative here on WUDR, Dayton, Ohio. A rock in the Gem City, music in all directions. Support your local music scene. We've been playing music from Uncle Tupelo. Songs written by both Jay Farrar and Jeff Tweedy. You heard the Still Feel Gone version of Gun from Uncle Tupelo, followed by a live version of that after Jeff had left the band. And then you also heard Still Feel Gone's True to Life, which is probably a Jay Farrar song, or at least that's the argument that we're going to make here. And you heard Graveyard Shift from the Legacy Edition version of No Depression, which is kind of, in many ways, most people's introduction to Uncle Tupelo. So for the next several hours, we're going to talk about the Jeff Tweedy book, Let's Go So We Can Get Back. And that title even means something, but you don't discover that towards the end of the book, so I feel sorry for Lynne over there. We may spoil that for you.
I expect spoilers.
What a great memoir, what a great biography. But at the same time, in the interest of full disclosure, I think all of us are fans in the room here.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I should do some quick introductions. You're listening to YTAA. I'm Dr. J, also known as Art Gibson. We've got Jeremy Siegrist here of the Typical Johnsons, Lynne Siegrist here of the Typical Johnsons, and Mandy Jewell. Mandy Jewell Music, among other things, photographer, writer,
Dayton legend.
Yeah, super fan.
Super fan.
Music super fan. It seems only appropriate to mention that. So we're going to spend time. We've got a few questions. It's going to be a freewheeling conversation. Later we'll open the phones if people want to call in. You can also tweet us, DRJYTAA on Twitter. Let's just jump right into it. So we're talking about Jeff Tweedy's Let's Go So We Can Get Back, a memoir of recording and discording with Wilco, etc. Overall thoughts?
What you got, Mandy?
Oh, me first. I am one of the rare people that started off as a Wilco fan. So I kind of went backwards. I really love this book for a number of reasons. One of them is I think I relate to him as a musician and as a person more than I think anybody that I listen to. He just, this lack of kind of self-confidence in some of his work, and just kind of just starting out as a poet and writing poetry, and I think that's what I love most about him is that, I mean, even you can read the lyrics in the back of the book where it seems, I mean, it reads like poetry, and I think that's what I love most about Jeff. And what I love about this book is that he's just so unbelievably honest, from the J stuff, the other J stuff, the drugs, the music, just the struggles of just, I mean, you know, record labels, life, family, I mean, just everything. It's not just about the music, it's about the whole picture. And I think anybody who's spent any time in the music industry or just even local music like we do knows that you have to balance all that. And I think that's you know, what I love most about the book, I think.
What do you think, Jeremy?
I honestly didn't like the first half of it. I started reading it and I don't know why, but something about the voice and the tenor of the book actually put me off a little bit through the first half of the book, but it totally redeemed itself in the last couple chapters. It's almost like he changed voices, which I hope was intentional. Mostly because a lot of his experiences are stuff, especially where we grew up, were pretty common experiences. And it's like, well, you know, I mean, we all lived this. You know, this is almost nothing special. It's almost par for the course. You know, which kind of makes the music that much more special. But then you got to kind of relate it back to him and Jay Farrar both being exceptional level artists rather than anything that happened in his life that was worth writing about. You know, I mean, I could name 7 friends who have the exact same upbringing as Jeff Tweedy did. Exactly.
Yeah.
And but towards the end, you start to see, it's almost like he changed voices. The book really redeemed itself for me in the last couple chapters, and I really enjoyed the overall experience of reading it. But for the first half of it, I was seriously like, well, what? Really?
I can see that.
Well, yeah, there's
yeah.
I thought in the beginning he was trying too hard to be funny.
Yeah, maybe. But I remember commenting to Lynne, man, he's really a funny writer. There's some laugh out loud moments.
There are.
You know.
I mean, I really appreciate the honesty I really appreciate the humor, although I think for me, earlier in the book, it's like he's trying a little too hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think that's how I ever saw him. Even in the documentaries and any interviews that I've seen with him where he's just talking, he doesn't come off like that. So to hear him write or to read that,
agreed.
and
It's
and
a little
hear him
jarring.
acting like that, it was kind of like.
But in a good
Who is
way.
this?
That was good.
Yeah, I can see
There's a
that.
I think
side.
also maybe he was trying to be entertaining for the sake of selling a book. And honestly, when you get people that aren't as big of fans as we are and pick up the Jeff Tweedy book, they're maybe going to want to, laugh out loud a little bit. So maybe that he was trying to break the ice to those people. We're just kind of like, okay, Jeff, like, we get it. Like, but other people are probably thinking it's really funny.
I thought it was. I thought
he was. I thought it was funny, and like I like what Jeremy said about his upbringing and whatnot. Honestly, I relate a lot to how he was brought up. I think a lot of us do, and I think that I think that's what I loved most about it was that I related to it so much, and it was just like this guy. He and I are right here.
I think maybe I was expecting something a little more revelatory,
Right.
rather than because he is such an outstanding songwriter, and some of these lyrics that he's penned have had such tremendous impact to so many people, myself, everyone in this room. I expected something a little more revelatory, rather than everyone else's life, which I guess gives hope to us all who are attempting to write a song. But I think it really shines a light on how much of a perfect storm it was with Jay Farrar and Jeff Tweedy being in that same place at that same time. That whole lightning in a bottle concept, that was like a flash.
Well, and that's what really interested me. I know they were, I feel like I should put air quotes on friends, but they were acquaintances. They were kids who went to the same high school who liked the same kind of music.
And they were both
Right.
outcasts.
And they're both both outcasts and kind
Absolutely.
of disconnected from people around them,
Yes.
but observing people around them.
Yes, very much so. They were like extreme outcasts. They were without a group of friends at all, almost. With the sorted one or two. Like I said, it was just so prototypical of so many people. It just happened that these two were these extremely. I don't even know at that point, were they that great of artists, or were they just able to express it in a way that no one else could?
That's a really good question. I've often wondered about that myself. When you look at those, the first two Uncle Tupelo records, there's a level of maturity that's there that I think many folks don't have.
Absolutely.
In their first record or their first 2 or 3 records, and
Or ever.
yeah. Well, Jeff says it repeatedly throughout the book that Jay was fully formed when he met him. Like, he never changed. He was pretty much the same guy, the same artist in some ways.
And he does amplify that with his family as like this musical family.
Yeah.
In extreme. Oh man, I don't know.
It's always an interesting question. So, does Jeff believe that Jay is the superior artist?
Yes.
Yes.
As he writes it, yes.
And if I can just state, and I know somebody's gonna smack me probably, but I don't think Uncle Tupelo was ever Jeff Tweedy's project. I felt like that was Jay's.
Oh,
And
I agree.
I
agree
think
with
that
you.
listening to the songs, going back as a Wilco fan, because like I said, I started out as a Tweedy Wilco fan.
Right.
So going back and listening to Uncle Tupelo, I'm thinking, this doesn't sound like Jeff. Like, even the Jeff songs don't really sound like Jeff yet. And it was Jay's project. I think Jeff will tell you Uncle Tupelo was always Jay's project.
Oh, I would
was
think so.
was never his.
I don't think anybody would smack you for that, because I think
Well,
I think everybody agrees with you.
Good. No, I just would assume, because there are a lot of hardcore Tweedy fans. They feel, I don't know, they don't like it when
Possessive over Uncle Tupelo?
Again, they do.
I'm asking. I'm seriously
No,
asking. Well, then how do you
seriously.
feel about AM? So AM, to me, is an extension.
Yes.
Of
It
Uncle
is.
Yes.
Tupelo.
No, I agree with
It
you.
didn't become Wilco per se till past that point.
I don't think that Jeff became anywhere the Jeff that I know until Summer Teeth.
Oh, good call.
I mean, I just,
I would not disagree with that.
I mean, and the bummer in this book is that he glosses over Summer Teeth a lot, and that was during the time he had the drug problem and things
Right.
like that. So I think it's probably didn't want to discuss that a lot. But yeah, I don't think that Jeff was truly Jeff until Summer Teeth. That's just.
I'm curious about that though. So when you look at the Uncle Tupelo records, and I came in early on, and I admit that I was a huge Uncle Tupelo fan. I saw Uncle Tupelo 11 times.
And where were you at this point in your life?
In my life,
Like, where were you living?
the first few years, I'm in Morris, Minnesota, which is a
Okay.
pretty small Midwestern town, this part of Minnesota, which, if anyone's looking at their hand, I'd be the part towards the Dakotas. But, and then I moved to Ohio and saw them several times, like playing Bogarts in
Oh, wow.
Cincinnati and things like that. I actually met Jeff in a music store that used to be right next to Bogarts, got his signature, told him what a big fan I was, and how much I appreciated his vocals on several of the songs, and to which he got the funniest look on his face and said, well, okay, and he paused, like,
He doesn't think he's a good singer.
no, he does, and I think he's
doesn't.
way too hard on himself, but
Yeah.
for me,